Hi, I'm Damon Frank, and you're listening to the Recovered Life Show. Every week, we bring you a recovered life discussion about creating your weekly sober game plan and strategies on how to live your best recovered life. Remember, addiction is a life-threatening condition, and the information in this discussion is provided as a resource only and is not to be used or relied on for any diagnostic or treatment purposes. This is not a substitute when professional diagnosis or treatment is needed. Now, let's jump into the discussion. Welcome to Recovered Life Discussions. You're in the Recovered Life Room. Every week, myself and Kristina Dennis come to you and we plan our sober week. That's right. We go over our sober week, what we're doing on Recovered Life. We talk about what's on your agenda, what is your plan for the week in recovery. We bring people to the stage. We have a great conversation, and it's always a good time. It's one of my favorite rooms of the week, Kristina. I don't know about you, but it's a great jump start. It's a great
I
jump start into recovery.
I love orienting myself on Monday and taking the time to be part of the discussion and really making sure that I've got first things first, which is taking care of my sobriety and my recovery. I can often just get going, and about halfway through the day, in the past, I would have been like, "Oh, wait a minute, why do I feel out of control?" And then realizing I had not put myself first, or even thought about how am I going to spend my time, where am I going to spend my time, who do I want to be, those kinds of things that help us, become the best version of ourselves, but also enjoy and really, put ourselves as a priority. So I love this room as well. I love this discussion. It's my investment into myself.
Absolutely. You know, I always know that having a plan is better than having no plan when it comes to mapping out what you're going to do in your recovery, what's important. Because you know what happens, Christina, is weeks and days and minutes, they stack up. And then you get to a place where you're like, I was going to work on that amends. I was going to work on this situation. I was going to like learn something or do something, or there's something in my recovery that I really needed to focus on. And then you look at 6 months, a year, and you haven't really worked on it, right? What I like about this room and about this discussion specifically is we jump into, okay, what should I be thinking about? I always say in coaching, Christina, one of the biggest questions that I ask myself and other people, which is, what's the most important thing that I could do today or this week or this month or this year that's going to make the biggest impact on my life and other people's lives around me, right?
Right?
And I think that's such an important question. I think, and I definitely honor everybody who shows up to this room and has this discussion with us. It's so important. Let me set the stage, Christina, before we start bringing people up. And I want to ask you a couple questions about what you're working on this week. But before we, just to set the stage a little bit about what this is all about. We come up, we share, we talk about our struggles, what we're working on, what we did last week. And there are just a few rules. We just ask that you be polite and kind and considerate to other people. Just do positive comments when you're reflecting and talking about other people. We want this to be a nice, safe, and enjoyable space for everyone. The second is because we record this on a replay here and it's also used on our podcast, we ask that you just use people's first names, right? So just use people's first names unless you want to, at least for Christina and I, you can call us whatever you want. We don't care. You could use our first and last names. We don't really care. But for everybody else, we just ask that you use first names. Christina, let's jump into this. I always like to hear what's on your plate for your recovery plan this week.
Thank you. Yes. Well, even if today is a holiday over here stateside, I'm still here because I drink every day, and I was a codependent, a massive codependent. Part of my recovery program starts with my commitments, and every time I honor my commitments, I build a little bit more self-esteem and a little bit more care for myself. So, this week it looks like being here at the moment. I've got some appointments this afternoon and I'm doing some things with you that are really exciting. It also looks like scheduling appropriately, so I have breaks in between sessions and can really reset. I had my son over the weekend and he's here today, so there's some caretaking involved in that. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, I'll be right back here discussing some of the important things that help me and I hope help others, to move forward in recovery, to move forward to enjoyment, to heal past. And so I have 2 home groups that I attend as a member, and then I also have a workshop that I've been lucky enough to participate in the last 10 months. And so it's kind of the same physical appointments and physical commitments, and then a whole bunch of how do I continue to heal parts of myself, as well as schedule fun in there, making it a goal to have fun, making it a goal to seek joy, and take those breaks. So that's kind of what's on the horizon for me. How about you, Damon?
I loved how you were talking about being able to put yourself first, and that you you're still involved in recovery stuff even though that it's a holiday here, right? What I love about you is that you don't take the easy way out a lot of the times. And you might take the tougher road because it's going to get you to a place where you're going to either learn a lesson or you're going to be able to experience something, right? And I definitely admire that about you. One of the things I'm doing the exact same thing. Like, I'm showing up. Many people don't know that, Christina and I also coach together and stuff. And so we were up and creating content for people in recovery by 8 o'clock, right? We were up at 7 or so, getting ready for the Recovered Life show that we did. And we're doing the deal. And we talked about it. And we think that taking time off is important. But we also know that right now is a really big relapse time for people. And we wanted to be there for people and be of service. And sometimes you just got to power through it when you want to take the day off, right, Christina? Like, it's easy to take the day off. It's sometimes harder to kind of double down and get what you need to have done.
This holiday has been kind of bittersweet for me in the past for many reasons. First, it reminds me of times where I got completely smashed and made a fool of myself. It also has in the past reminded me, with my son and the lack of family, it would be really easy for me to look at what I perceive as fun that others are having and feel sorry for myself and to feel isolated. And everyone knows I truly do believe in grief, and I do believe in acknowledging that things have been harder. But coming here and being part of the chosen family can change that, and it can override those feelings. I know that through Recovered Life and through discussions in different places that I've met people on this app, I actually have expanded my family. So it's the amazing and surprising gifts that come out of being committed to recovery.
Yes, absolutely. So what we want to kind of discuss today, guys, on this discussion is planning your sober week. We want to talk about, how's your week going so far? What are you doing? What do you have planned? What are you working on? Is there something spiritually you're working on? Is there areas of your recovery that you're working on? What has been the challenges? What were your challenges last week that you're trying to kind of face this week? This is all really about the discussion. We're so glad that we've got some people up here on stage. Kathy, love to go to you. How you doing? Hope you're having a great day, and would love to hear about your plan for your sober week.
Afternoon. It's a beautiful day here in the UK. I had a great weekend, and this week is going to have its challenges. It is on Thursday. It is the anniversary of my father's death. A day I found very difficult in the past, and also very easy, because in the past I could just recreate his favourite activity, which was to go to the pub and have a pint and read the paper, and I could make out it was a tribute to him. But of course, I mean, it was and it wasn't. But that's not an avenue I choose to do this year. So I will see my one of my nieces the day before, and we will have a little reminisce, I guess. But yeah, I because I wasn't able to. He died. My father lived in Ireland, and they bury the next day in Ireland, and I wasn't able to get there in time for his funeral. So it does bring up a lot for me. So I will be mindful around myself. I will make sure I have support. It is a bank holiday weekend this coming weekend in the UK. We have a 4-day weekend for the what is it, the Jubilee. So there will be a lot of drinking activities around this week from Thursday to Sunday. But I am going to stay grounded, even if the weather's good. If it means I don't go out, I don't go out. I can live with that. If that's part of staying sober, then so be it. I enjoy my flat. I like where I live, so I'm lucky in that way. But I will be mindful to reach out, and I will not isolate myself this week. So I think that's my loose plan, and to keep an eye on myself, really. I'm going to be asking myself how I feel a lot of the time, and I'm gonna be very honest with myself, as I try always to be. But I have to be keep a especially kind of laser focus on it this week. So thanks for holding the room, and thanks for asking. And I'm glad I was able to put this week in focus for myself. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy, for sharing. I love that you are mindful about the hard feelings that come up, and sometimes, like, when we are sober, we don't know exactly how the feelings are going to land on us. The day could come and go, and you could be perfectly fine, but preparing yourself for those is so important. I mean, and I think this is something that I learned early on in recovery, was that my body remembers, my nervous system remembers, and dates that come and go. I mean, I can logically try to say, well, that's just, that doesn't mean anything, or I should be past something, but I'm not doing myself any favors. And by sharing that I have vulnerability around events, that I have feelings, I give other people permission to do the same. And I protect myself, I prepare myself, which is exactly what you shared. And I just say bravo, and we're here. If things get hard, that there will be people in this room and in Recovered Life and in your own personal recovery program that want to take that phone call, that want to celebrate and sit next to you. I didn't know that at first. I kind of thought I had to. My codependency taught me that I had to always show up being strong and available for others. And so this is a really valuable lesson. Thanks.
Love that. Thank you so much, Kathy. I wanted to mention something, Christina, about what you said. This morning on the show, we were talking about limits, knowing your limits, right? And here in the States for Memorial Day, this usually is the big kickoff to summer, right? So people who live in colder climates, if it's nice, they're out, they're doing barbecues. Even if it's not nice, they're out and doing barbecues, right? And this is where the drinking and a lot of the reconnection with people starts to happen, right? For those summer months, and this could be a dangerous time for people in recovery, because they maybe don't understand their limits, right? Especially newer people that are getting, maybe they're sober for their first Memorial Day weekend. It could be a little scary knowing that you've got to go out and that you're connecting with people, and you might not have that, what I call, barrier or buffer, that brake pad built up enough to really be able to handle long periods of time around people who are drinking, or codependent relationships with family members, or maybe people that aren't necessarily safe for you, right, Christina? Like, we were talking about that, and how you kind of deal with setting up any event that you might be going uh, to win before you actually get there.
So true, so true. Having that forethought, which is what Kathy just shared, having that forethought that I really can't wing it. I think for a long time I always thought that when I was sensitive, or started getting squirrely around stuff, that it spoke to my strength. I'm just being a wimp, or I'm just being too, being too dramatic, which is something that was gaslighting in my childhood. You're being way too dramatic, and why are you making such a big deal out of it? But in a situation of physical recovery, it is it is life or death. And we do have to think about this stuff. And knowing your limits is a matter of maturity, not weakness. And I had adopted very early on to check in with my nervous system. And if I have a commitment to go, I show up early so I can be of service, and I leave early, long before maybe some of the drinking gets out of hand. And I go there with the right intention, which is to connect with people, to be of service, and then I can take care of myself. And
Yeah,
that doesn't even matter if it's in a group of drinkers or not drinkers. It could be a
absolutely.
group of people in recovery, but I have limits on how much I can do and be in that social setting.
Well, I do a lot of high performance coaching, Christine, and I think people push themselves in the wrong areas. They'll push themselves to go to maybe a barbecue that they're not safe at, but they won't push themselves to work on their spiritual program. They won't push themselves to make a little bit of extra money so their life is easier. They won't push themselves to make those amends or to do the work that you need to do in recovery, but they'll push themselves in the wrong area, right? And this is something that awareness, I always say you're much stronger and you're much deeper and you have much more than you believe that you have. So I think awareness and self awareness is so important to understand. I shared today on the show that even after several decades of recovery, there are some situations where I'm just a little bit more alert, right? Like, I set myself up for them a little bit more, because I know there might be conversations about, hey, why are you not drinking? Or do you want this? Do you want, like, there might be business situations where people have authority, right? Or things like that that can put you in weird, awkward situations. And knowing how to get through those, I think, and then having the experience of getting through them is super, super essential. It just is really important. I wanted to go to Chelsea. Chelsea, it's so good to see
Hey
you.
there, are you
How's your
off
sober
today?
week going?
Nope.
Oh yeah, I'm off today.
Woo!
Woohoo! I got to go to the pool for like an hour or so, but I burned really easily, so I'm like, well, that was good. I got some sunshine. Um, but so my sober week, well, yesterday, because I'm involved with, the Orly Pa, which is like the Orlando Young People AA, we were planning a dance for like later in June, and like voting on merch, like, or, t-shirts to wear and this and that. And there's a state conference in August that we're kind of all getting ready to go to as well. And then let's see, I opened doors for my home group on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I chair the meeting on Thursdays. I've been chairing this month. And I've been opening the doors for like 2 months, and I picked up that commitment when I was doing my 30 meetings in 30 days. So I could like kind of re-jolt my my sobriety. And we'll see. We have a business meeting on Friday. Oh, I got asked to speak at my home group this Friday, and I'm really excited for that. I don't get asked to speak very much, but apparently when you're around as much as I've been around, you get asked to speak. So that's new for me. Yeah, I used to only get asked to speak after I picked up a medallion, because people would be like, "Oh, she's got this many years. We should ask her to speak." And like they didn't really know me as well, because I didn't share in meetings. And Clubhouse has kind of built that skill for me, to share in my in-person meetings, because I was generally just a listener. I didn't really share too much, and I would hide in speaker meetings. So I'm really excited to be of service this week. And then on Sunday, I'm going back over to St. Pete. They've got Circuit Paw, which is like the Southeastern Conference, the young people in AA, and they've got elections, and I'm going to stand for another service commitment. So I'm just like drowning myself in service. And I think that's like, I don't know, it's I've never been in service this much in my sobriety, and I have quite a few years, and like there's just something about not just being a member at large, like that actually doing something to be there of service for other people, especially young people in AA. Like I'm really excited for this dance that we're gonna put on. And we had an emo night last month, and that was really successful. And it's just really cool to see these like young people who like got sober during COVID, who are experiencing these sober events, and they're just all so pumped up about it, and it gets me really pumped up. And so yeah, my sober week is pretty full with service work this week, and I couldn't be more happy about it. And I still have my room on Sunday mornings in the co-occurring disorder clubhouse, and that really fulfills me. It gets me out of bed on Sundays, and gets my day going. So yeah, I'm really excited for this week and really nervous about Friday, but I'll just kind of pray about it and let the words come out. So thanks, guys.
That's so good, Chelsea. You brought up some very good points. I think one of the most important is that you speak up and people know you. And that is, I think, one of the best pieces of direction and advice we can give. That when you first get into recovery, make sure that somebody knows your name.
So important, so important. I think connection is really what this is all about, right? Learning how to connect sober, learning and doing the deal. What I love about you, Chelsea, is that you're always doing the deal. You're into action, right? Like, I think so many people in their head have a plan about what they want to do, but they don't go out and do it. And I love that you share too that sometimes you'll do things and it won't come out off as planned. It might not be perfect, but it ends up being just right, right? And I love that about you because that is you really have tapped into the secret here of how to make this of how to make a great recovered life is you just do it. You just do it. So I totally applaud you. Sassy, how you doing? Welcome to the Recovered Life discussion.
Hi
What's on
there.
your plan for this week?
So, by way of brief introduction, first of all, Christina, yes, your 2 months of pinging has finally paid off. As for
Welcome.
me, yeah, I remember being pinged back in March and just being busy at the time. But the beautiful thing is when you get pinged and when you see something in the hallway, it's like, okay, I need to wait for an opportunity, and here's the opportunity. So, yay for that. As for me, by way of introduction, for your sake, Dennis, uh, you can call me Sassy, you can call me Sabrina. Either one is perfectly fine with me. Sabrina is definitely not a last name. I am a black visually and hearing impaired AMAB, trans woman, pronoun she, her, who's also pagan. And I am a person who deals with codependency, negative thinking, and especially about feeling limited with blindness. So that's where I come from. I'm not a quote unquote traditional addict. I put that in quotes because there's no such thing as a traditional addict. I'm just definitely in the minority, but I'm used to that. So, yay for me. As for me, so the last couple of weeks, last week and this week have been hugely spiritual. Last week, I participated in a ritual for one of my deities for the first time, which was really awesome. Of course, I bit off more than I can chew, but it's better to overplan than underplan. And then in my group that I go to off Clubhouse, I wound up double dipping in service. I wound up going to my first meditation meeting and also contributing to the meditation, contributing to the meditation for the meeting. So that would guarantee that I would be there. And I'm also going to be stepping up to be the business person, the business meeting coordinator at said meeting next month. And then eventually, when I get in my own place and more settled, I am absolutely going to be doing the 12 steps, doing everything that comes with recovery. And I'm happy with this group because it's my second time being in this kind of recovery. And so I know what works and what doesn't work. And I've been going to that group on the regular. This week is again being spiritual. Tonight is the new moon. My Wednesday is the start of June. Recently got connected with another deity who I'm going to be working with primarily this month. And so she is helping me to be focused on my physical exercise and to get out in nature and do all these other things, which are awesome. And I'm also going to be moving from St. Louis to Atlanta, going back home. And so there is plans for making it happen, whether it's making sure my hearing aid is fixed or is functional, depending on what hearing aid it is, or getting ready for housing and so many other stuff. So this week, between my spirituality and my plans, my preparing for moving, there's not a lot of time to be negative. And if there is time to be negative, then I have one of 5,000 deities, half joking, who I can call on to get me out of that. Or I have people who I can talk to get me out of it. Or just getting up, getting out of bed and getting outside. So definitely have a lot of plans, a lot of activities. And I'm glad to be here. And with that, I will yield.
Thank you. I love hearing an update. So glad that you came up and spoke. I actually have participated in several rooms where you've spoken, and it's just always so nice to hear somebody being them and doing what they need to do and offering all different ways of how we recover. And I understand that there is no typical addict, but we all have that wounding, right? We all have that thing that we need to address, or need to connect with each other. And for me, recovery was an introduction to humanity and to a group of people who wanted to stay kind and wanted to take care of themselves and each other. So I really appreciate you coming in. I thank you.
It's so, you mentioned moving, and I had a flashback, Christina. I moved so much in early recovery and in before I got sober. I was just constantly moving. One was I was in college, but two, just because the chaos of, you know, being an alcoholic and going through recovery and life changes. And it's so, looking back, it could be so stressful, and I've been in one place. It's interesting. It's interesting what happens if you're in one place for a long period of time. the difference that is, right? Like, it never really appealed to me until I really got sober, right? I was much more of a wanderer. And I was just looking back when Sassy was mentioning that stuff, and I was like, I remember the stress of, having to make that big move, life change, and just feeling that I wasn't ready. Like, I got to pack all my stuff. I got to do this. I got to do that. It's such a stressful time. Emerald, how you doing? Good to see you. Welcome to Recovered Life, and love to hear your thoughts.
Thanks. So, planning my sober week. This week is very active and a challenge indeed. I guess I'm going to say a challenge because on Friday, um, Friday is where I finally, it's my court date I've been out on bond since January 28th of 2021. I haven't had any alcohol since that day. So a year and 4 months. Um, but this is my court date for my DUI. So it's kind of interesting because I wasn't inside of my car, but my car was turned on charging my phone so that I could get a ride home. It's just very interesting. I can't really negotiate everything, but I am thinking about everything a lot and probably way too much, mainly because, my in a matter of speaking, not literally, but in a matter of speaking, it feels like there's a segment of my fate that rests in the hands of someone else. And all that really means is that whatever decision they decide to make about my life and what I get to do, like I haven't been able to travel while I'm out on bond, which is unusual because I'm not a flight risk and don't have any priors or anything weird. So it's weird that they wouldn't let me leave the state of Texas for a year and a half, or at least since last October. Um, and I've been on the breathalyzer. I haven't missed any tests or anything. I've been doing everything they ask. And it's so interesting because comparatively, what gets in my head on my sobriety side is like I have other friends who are also dealing with DUIs, who have all the freedom, who have the ability to leave where they want to. They only can't. Drink when they're going to drive their cars, so they take Ubers or they, all this other stuff. They just keep drinking and going to these activities. So comparatively, it's a weird place because I'm really upset about various aspects of my circumstance and why is mine so much more different. I don't have priors, I don't have all this other stuff, but whatever, I guess I have to look back at, well, Emerald, 20 years ago, you did do this thing, and, now you got to live with that forever. It wasn't 20, it was 18 years, but still, comparison kills, my positive energy. And that's a place that I'm working away from staying in. And so I have been, last weekend, I spent a little bit of time with myself. I kind of just did a lot of important things, but for work as well. But I did spend at least a little bit of, I say a lot because, a whole evening by myself without work is a lot for me since I've been on this journey, since I spend most of my time working, just to keep myself out of trouble and to keep me occupied with something positive to do. I also have to produce a project on Saturday. And this is one thing I've got to be a bit more firm about and assertive about is when people ask me, what's the price point for producing a film project? I've got to be really firm with them about, hey, it costs this much because this is all that's being included. And, you can't have the cinematography without me writing, directing, and producing the content and editing the content for you. So we can just give you raw footage, but that's going to cost this much. But you're not going to be able to do anything that you want to do with it until you pay me for my part. And I'm in a situation where I'm working through being more assertive about people, having their contracts completed up front without going through the relationship of, oh, I know this person, they're really cool, I know they're going to pay me, because there's been too many times where people have not. And there's another opportunity, I guess, where a person is pulling me in multiple directions, has stated that they will offer me a salary plus additional, yet there's no contract, and they still keep giving me jobs. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to keep doing jobs until I have a contract. And I'm just really working on being more assertive about that. Because they're in my direct network, I think that's where I'm just being a lot very kind. So just working through that assertiveness this week, working on maintaining alignment and not comparing my circumstances to others, and really just focusing on my diet and exercise so that I can stay in a positive place. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really nervous, just because it's like I'm not really confident about what somebody else's decision is gonna be. I just have to be confident in embracing the consequence, whatever it is, and feel that moment for whatever it is. And yeah, so, and then I also get my car back from the car accident that I had. So my one little piece of blessing this month was, it's kind of a weird thing. My son hated this car because it was a convertible, so two-seater. He's really tall. He's 5'11", and so for him, he was just not really comfortable in it. For me, I'm 5'3", so I thought it was cute. And I'm like, it's summertime, it's hot outside, and I am dropping this convertible because when I am driving down the highway and it is evening and I am lakeside, it just feels amazing. So there's like this big piece of gratitude that has been just looming, and making sure that I'm redirecting that all the time to stay in a grateful mindset as I move forward. So that's me. That is everything that I am preparing for my sober week.
Well,
Thanks.
thank you so much, Emerald. I really appreciate your share. I posted something on our Volley community group yesterday, and it said real transformation comes when you're not in charge. And, I found that to be the case. When I'm not in charge, that's when I really the work can be done. When I'm in charge of the situation and the outcome, it has less impact on me spiritually than I've found. Michelle, good to see you. Always good to see you here on Recovered Life. Tell us about your recovered week, Michelle.
Hi, yeah. Well, the day started out good. I got up early and did actually did what I like to do in the morning that I haven't done for a while is meditation, and then some journal writing, and then chaired whatever it's called. I think they're calling it hosting now, but moderated the co-occurring disorders room with lovely Kathy this morning, which is always a pleasure with her. And right now I'm in front of my computer. I'm applying for a peer support specialist job that's opened up. I live in Duluth, Minnesota, but I on the shores of Lake Superior, right across the bridge, across the bay is Superior, Wisconsin, and there's a peer support specialist opportunity opening there. And what I like about Wisconsin is that it incorporates both mental health and substance abuse recovery in their training. So it's exciting. I mean, this is what I feel like I know, like I feel it is my passion is doing peer support with co-occurring disorders. And so it's exciting. It's kind of scary because I have a lot of that. I have a teeny bit. I'm not going to say a lot, just a little of imposter syndrome because I got my peer recovery specialist training back in 2018, but the facility that paid for it, they folded before I could start as a peer recovery specialist. So I didn't actually get licensed by the state. And then I did the NAMI volunteer peer support specialist training, because in Minnesota there's two different silos. It's the same training, but you have to get certified for mental health and for addiction issues, which is just something that I have problems with. But I didn't. I moved so that I didn't get to be an official peer support. So I'm giving myself credit because I started the co-occurring disorders clubhouse, and that is peer support, and trying to figure out how to incorporate that into my resume. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing, and it's exciting. And yeah, I'm excited. So I'm Michelle. I'm done speaking.
Congrats, Michelle. You'd be wonderful in that position, and it's such a joy to watch somebody move forward, move through, and continue to want to give back and to chase your passion, to do what you were meant to do on this earth. And being a sensitive person who, suffers from mental health challenges as well as substance abuse, I know that it is so important for us to have that courage to speak out about things and, say, I'm not doing okay today, or I am doing okay today, without this curated persona that our world so wants us to do. And I think that can even happen in recovery. I know I'm in long-term recovery. I know you are as well. And sometimes I get the impression that, oh, I can't go and share what's really happening with me, because what if somebody hears me and says, well, screw this. She's that screwed up at 25 years. What the heck am I doing? But I also know that that's not true, and that we all have to share. And the peer support portion of everybody's recovery program is, to me, the foundation. And so I just love watching you go for it, go for it, and yet still be an example of acceptance and grace for everyone. The love just radiates from you, and it's really, really exciting to see that there may be more people who will get to participate in that and benefit from it. All right. And Naz, so happy to see you here. How is your sober
Hello.
Monday going, and what are your plans this week?
Oh, wow. Hello, Christina. It's been a while since I've been on the Recovered Life platform. It's so good to see everybody. And you know what today reminds me of what we used to do when I first got clean. We used to go from meeting to meeting. We'd be meeting hoppers. So that's the same thing we doing here on Clubhouse. Like anything sobriety, anything recovery, I hop on it. I hop on it. When I get free time, I do that. So it just reminded me in the beginning, when I first came into this process. This today I'm just relaxing because all week I know some of you guys know I opened up a mental health agency. So all week I'm either out networking, trying to get clients, or I'm at my other agency that I'm contracted with, and I'm dealing with children the whole day on the video Zoom. So I have a lot of children from 5 years old all the way up to like 17. So the little ones, if they keep you busy, and it's a video, so you got to keep them engaged. So I be doing a lot during the week. So today I'm just going to relax. No cookout, no beach. I wish I could be in Puerto Rico right now on the beach, but I'm not. I'm going to just relax. What I'm doing all week, right? And I was just on another app, on another platform too, and I was just remembering when holidays came, it was an excuse to use. My birthday, your birthday, anybody birthday, Memorial Day, Christmas, any day. Was a day so I can continue putting poison in my body and celebrate. That's what my mind told me. And this disease, you got to be so, it's very strategic, right? Alcoholism, drugs, it's strategic, and it tells you that you deserve to celebrate. And how you deserve to celebrate is put poison in your body. And not only that, you're paying to kill yourself. So this is a thinking disease, right? So we know that alcohol is just a symptom that there is a disease, and the disease is my thinking, right? Why I think that putting poison in my body makes a good idea. That's a good idea, especially when it came to the drugs. But this week, I came together with Keola. We're going to start a room in the sobriety clubhouse on Fridays at 9:30, and we were thinking of the names. And one of the names I was saying, well, I wanted to be called "The War Is Over." And the reason why I wanted that is because a lot of people in recovery don't find the joy in it, right? You don't find a joy in it till after you've been here a few years, because number one, you got to get rid of your best friend. And for some of us, alcohol was our best friend, the only thing that understood us, And like I said, it goes back to our thinking, right? So you got to get rid of your best friend, and then you got to void. So it's important that immediately you fill that void with something. And people, we walk around sometimes new in recovery feeling empty inside because now we can't numb our feelings. Now we have to deal with the feelings. And that is so powerful and so painful that some of us go back to using because it's too hard. It's easier to pick up a drug or a drink than to actually deal or look at myself in the mirror and deal with the problem, right? So the problem is me, right? Alcohol and drug is a symptom that there is a problem, and the problem is my thinking, so we decided to start a room, and we're going to start it on Fridays at 9:30. It's going to be a powerful room because we're going to really get to the meat and potatoes of recovery, so I'm happy about that. And one of the things about being in recovery, now I've been here 21 years, only one day at a time, right? I found it helpful to do something participating in my recovery. That's how I stayed. If you want to know one of the secrets of staying in a process of sobriety and recovery, do something that has something to do with helping others or helping yourself or something, and that's why a lot of people that get in recovery get into these fields of helping people because it's like a selfless assignment, and now I'm like in touch with the assignment that I had. Like we all have an assignment, and I know one of my assignments from God is to reach out and help others the way somebody helped me. So all week, I'm not going to be partying. I'm not going to be going anywhere. I'm just going to choose to relax. And as far as celebrating, but I am going to be working hard on my business. I'm still going to be doing networking. I'm still going to be sponsoring. This past weekend, I had a sponsor meeting where there's 11 women that I sponsor in this process, and we all meet and we all share. We get to that gut level honesty, things that we can't share that might be too personal, like on a platform level or whatever like that, but we get it out and we get the help that we need. So I'm very much enthusiastic today as I was when I first came here about staying clean. Like I just didn't want to feel that messed up feeling anymore. I wanted something new. I wanted something different. And even though I came here in a whole lot of pain, they said, if you want what we got, you got to do what we do. So I jumped in my sponsor back pocket and I did what she did and I stayed clean one day at a time. So that's basically what I'm doing. I'm just going to stay here. This week is going to be, I'm still going to be working, but I'm still going to always be carrying the message. I'm always going to be carrying the message that any addict, the desire to use and find a new way to live. Anybody, that means me, you, everybody on this platform. All you need is that desire. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop using or want to stop using. Thank you for letting me share, guys.
Thank you, Naz. That's so exciting to hear that you are opening that discussion. I hope I can be part of that. I love everything that you shared. And, as a person who's also been around a while, I love hearing your commitment to our purpose and our assignment. And I'll tell you what came up for me when you were sharing was how different my perspective has changed about what having to be a sober person or having alcoholism is. For me it's a gift. It's a complete gift. And if you're new, I understand that this may be the time that you want to punch me in the face because it feels so bad at first. And I can remember that first year, that first Memorial Day, feeling like I was missing out, wanting to be involved in everything, so I wasn't taking care of my physical health, running myself into the ground, trying to be part of everything in a codependent way. For me, service was not for free. I had to learn that in recovery, that I used service to the point of manipulation because I wanted to be acceptable. But now, as you're saying it and you're putting in the terms of this is my assignment, I really cannot think, like I can't imagine my life what my life could have turned out if I had not had to deal with my sobriety, if I had not been forced, at 27 to start looking at these truths and start believing that maybe I didn't know what was best for me, and maybe there were other things out there, and that I wasn't just my diagnosis and I wasn't just my history, that there was a purpose. And so I'm one of those obnoxious sober people that is incredibly grateful for the pain that happened. And I'm also really, really grateful that it happened earlier in my life. And I guess I think that that's one of the reasons why I show up on a Monday, every Monday, regardless if it's Memorial Day. And I remember marathon meetings on holidays. I remember that, and had a place to go, and having that joy of connecting with people and being accepted for who I was, not who I was trying to be. I wouldn't trade it. I would not trade that. I would not trade it. First, I never wanted to drink normally. I wanted to become, I wanted oblivion. And that happens to be my story. I know it's not everybody's story, but I happened to be, there was no imaginary line that I crossed. From the first time that I drank and it was, quote, successful, I had that phenomena of craving. And so I sit here as a really grateful member of not only Recovered Life community, but as the recovery community at large. So I'm cheering you on. I will stop in your and Keola's conversation, and I thank you for always speaking your truth and for showing us that we can recover no matter what.
Kristina, this has been an amazing discussion, like it always is on Monday. Some big takeaways here is, this Memorial Day, like one that we can change, and I think this is a big thing. It's like everybody that's been on stage talks about the way that it used to be, which means that we're all in this state of change, right? Constantly changing. One of the things that I get from recovery is that it's not something that you could just do and be done with. We always constantly have to be growing and changing. And sometimes, like I always say, the great thing about being sober is that you're awake, aware, and alive. The bad thing sometimes about being sober is that you're awake, aware, and alive. But we're awake, aware, and alive all the time. And this gives us a great opportunity to really live our best recovered life, right? And what I love about this room, what I love about this discussion is that we talk about the actually doing of it, right? It's not talking about, yeah, we're sober, blah, blah. It's like, what are we doing in our recovery? And I think, taking these actions that we discussed here today really get us closer to where we want to be. Kristina, any final thoughts on this Memorial Day Plan Your Sober Week?
Everybody be safe and connect. I am available today. If anybody is struggling, please DM me. And I hope to see you all tomorrow in our Rewire Your Brain room. We're going to be talking about some really beautiful concepts like foreboding joy and just learning together. Thank you very much for letting me be part of your day.
Guys, thank you so much, guys. And if you are not a member of Recovered Life, if you are, you're going to get an exclusive invite to our Volley group. This is where we keep the conversation going. I've had more fun on Volley over the last couple of days. Kristina, it's been so great to be part of that community. And the great thing is you can put video messages up there, audio messages, text messages, or you can just watch, listen, and watch other people's volleys. Either way, it's the best deal in town. You guys can get access to it by becoming a member for free. Just go to recoveredlife.us. And if you need to connect with both Kristina and I for any reason, you can go to info.recoveredlife.us. Just click on our faces there and you can set up a free time to speak with both of us.
Keep the conversation going. Join Recovered Life, a community of like-minded people who are looking to live their best recovered lives. Membership is free, and you can apply at recoveredlife.us.